We're back in Utah County. We're on University Avenue. This week, we're learning all about chocolate. So we're visiting Taste. It's only natural that Taste Utah is gonna come and stop by Taste to get an understanding of all of the integrity and integration that goes into making chocolate, but also evolving. Taste has evolved as a restaurant, cafe. Now they're making their own chocolate bars. We're gonna go talk to Grant and really learn about the art of making chocolate.
Hello.
Grant!
So good to meet you.
Oh my
Come
goodness.
on in.
Well, I'm excited to come in and just understand more about chocolate and all of the nuances that we can find here.
Yeah, well, we can definitely help you with that.
Okay, awesome.
Head on in.
Thank you.
When Taste opened, this side was originally just a tasting house.
Okay.
Right? It was a shop and a tasting house. So we
Yeah.
have the bar set up so that you can sample the chocolate.
Okay.
And we had formal tasting classes and things like that.
Yeah.
And it was, just all about experiencing the food before you decide what you want to, take home with you.
And chocolate specifically.
Chocolate specifically, since from the beginning we knew we were setting up the factory next door.
Yeah.
We wanted a place to taste our own chocolate.
You've been with Taste from the very beginning.
Yeah, I was their first employee in the store, running the register at first. Honestly, had no idea what artisan chocolate was as opposed to regular chocolate. Like, I went through this whole education process.
Yeah.
And kind of leveled up my palate, trying, the chocolate I was eating versus this, and learning all that went into making it, a much, much better product.
Will you go through what we have in front of us?
For sure. So what you've got there in front of you is sipping chocolate. So it's a European style hot chocolate. Essentially melted down chocolate with just enough half and half to thin it out to a drinkable texture.
Yeah.
And so just really rich and dark compared to our usual hot cocos here.
I dove right into this, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, so this is our s'more taste style. It's a layered dessert, so we have devil's food cake, chocolate cream, and then graham cracker, strawberries, and then a house-made marshmallow cream on the top, and then toasted. So
It's exquisite.
yeah.
And then what's in front of you?
Here we have our turkey prosciutto sandwich, so one of our savory options. We have in-house focaccia. We get some fig jam made from Dalmatia figs, some brie, some amazing prosciutto. That goes into the oven.
Oh.
And then we add some fresh salad greens and a drizzle of our cherry balsamic that we carry in the store.
It's almost like an Italian-inspired Thanksgiving sandwich.
Yeah,
if that
kind of,
makes
yeah.
any sense,
Yeah, for sure.
Two final things on the table.
Yeah.
What is this?
Okay, so this is our cacao tea. So during the chocolate making process that we'll show you,
Okay.
We remove the shell from the cocoa beans, and we use that shell base to brew into a tea so that we don't have to waste that part of the product.
Also high in antioxidants.
Yeah, yep, so you carry over antioxidants, you carry over just a tiny bit of the cocoa butter even into the tea, which is a really healthy fat. So a lot of health benefits, but still, like all teas, very low calorie and a good option.
And then this is a tasting plate of many different kinds of chocolate, not just yours.
Yeah, so I think on this one we only have one of our own even, and all the rest are from other chocolate makers all around the world.
Can you tell just by looking at these which is which?
This is going to be Rouge Vogie out of Budapest.
Okay.
They're lavender. That one on the end is, I think that's Omnom caramel.
Okay. Oh yeah, Omnom for
there
sure.
we go.
It's the bigger crosses.
Yeah. Here we've got Fruition, probably the bourbon dark milk. That one I believe is Omnom as well, if I'm not mistaken. A caramelized white chocolate.
Yum.
And then white chocolate finish off. Utah has such a chocolate culture now. So many great other makers in the state and all around the world.
And appreciators. I mean, there's like the Chocolate Society, which is a group, I may or may not be a member, of secret chocolate aficionados. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Exactly. So we just want to foster that even more and spread that education a little more. And again, just showcase all the amazing chocolate.
Do you still do chocolate classes?
Yeah, so we still do every Friday night. We have the chocolate class. And then once a month we do chocolate with a cheese tasting portion.
Oh, cool.
And then the other things that have been more and more popular, we have a fondue night on Thursday nights.
Fun.
So another great date night.
And is it savory fondue or sweet
We
fondue?
have both. So you can do
answer.
either or both, which is definitely the most popular. Yeah.
That's like my answer for everything.
Yeah. And then the other big hit is we started doing our afternoon tea service, or our full English tea service. You've got the 3 tiers. You get your choice of drink, whether it be one of our hot cocos or something like that, or a selection of teas. That's been very, very popular. Less as a date night, but more popular as, you know, an outing for friends and family and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I could see that as a sister's outing with like my sisters or something like that,
Exactly.
or my girlfriends from high school. I'm thinking like, oh, this would be such a fun space to like rent and do something.
Yeah. So we have rentals pretty often, both for events and also video shoots, film shoots, things like that. It's pretty common that we have people in here for that as well.
That is so fun. Okay, I'm really excited to go back into the factory and actually see how it's made and maybe even make a little mold myself.
For sure, yeah, absolutely.
But before I do that, I'd like to pop back in the kitchen and maybe make a sandwich or something.
Yeah, let's do it.
See the glory happening back there.
Perfect.
Okay, sounds good. Lindsay, I just had the most wonderful conversation with Grant. He's gonna meet me over in the chocolate making of factory, but first we're gonna make this wonderful sandwich. So you're making your bread in-house.
Yes.
Yum. I mean, there's nothing like fresh bread.
Yeah.
And if I worked here, like I would be eating it all day, every day, so.
Oh, trust me, we do.
Good. That's what I like to hear. But it really is the foundation of this sandwich.
Yes.
It starts with this beautiful bread.
We cut it in half.
Nice.
And then we take this beautiful fig jam.
So you're spreading it sort of thinly on both sides of the sandwich.
Both sides of the sandwich.
Okay.
Yes. And then we take some slices of brie cheese that we have and just spread it on the bottom. And then to top it all off before it goes in the oven is we just take about 3 slices of our turkey.
Turkey, okay.
And then we just leave it like this and throw it in the oven for 4 minutes.
Okay, let's do it.
Yep.
All right. Beautiful sign that it's done. This almost sounds like a doorbell.
Yeah, exactly like a doorbell.
Oh, that's gorgeous. So now we're putting on
The prosciutto.
The prosciutto.
Yes.
The parma. And I really feel like it's not a proper sandwich or even a burger without greens. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like you need greens.
It really tops it off, especially with the balsamic vinegar that we're going to be using.
Yeah. Ooh.
Next.
And this is like, you're not skimping on that balsamic. That's a beautiful balsamic.
It goes really well with it.
I mean, this sandwich is so decadent and gourmet.
Yeah, it is very hard to cut because of how decadent it is.
But you're cutting it like a master. That's wonderful.
I have a lot of practice.
Do you like the sandwich? Do you like to eat it?
Yes, it's one of my favorite ones.
Is
that we
it?
have. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, there we go. And let me get a plate for you.
I mean, the brie is like dripping
Melting
down
off.
the side. I'm like salivating. Lindsay, this has been so fun. And I have to say, like, typically I would take this and I would eat it. But I'm gonna go meet Grant over in the chocolate factory. And so since you love this, I'm gonna leave it with you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna steal this little crumb of
Go for it.
brie-infused, lovely focaccia bread, and just thank you so much. It's just been such a pleasure, and people have to come and try the kitchen side of Taste.
I totally agree. Yeah,
Okay,
it is
awesome.
so good.
We'll see ya.
Okay, thank you.
Grant, just made delicious food in the kitchen.
Indeed.
What is going on here?
Yeah, welcome to the factory. So, got a big old hole in the ground right now. We're gonna lift up our cocoa beans that we
my
store there
gosh.
in the basement.
Cool, let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's do it.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Grant, that was pretty rad. I mean, there's no other way to say it. You
Pretty fun.
literally bring these giant cocoa bean bags
Yeah.
up through this amazing pulley system, and then you just kind of set them here,
Yeah.
cut them open.
Yeah, so we'll bring them up onto the sorting table over
Sorting
there.
table.
Just make sure there's no foreign objects or anything like that.
Because these are literally coming from all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, this is how they're grown, right?
Yes.
Cacao pod there on the plants, and before it gets to us, they've already taken it, scooped it out of there, and done the fermentation.
When you scoop it out, it's actually like just a series of almost like kind of white-looking fruit, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like big white seeds of the fruit, and really awesome tropical flavor, like pineapple or passion fruit, kind of in that zone. So yeah, not at all what you expect from finished chocolate, like our experience with chocolate. Nothing like the fresh cacao.
So they separate it, dry it, shake it, get it to the point where it's like
this.
There.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they dry it and then bag it and
Can I
send it
touch?
out. Yeah, go for it.
I mean, it's literally like, it kind of looks like an almond.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Yep. So got the little cocoa beans. So it does still have the shell on, so probably not a great texture.
Little husk. But I will
Yeah.
say, when you bite into it, you can taste the chocolate.
Yeah.
Do you roast with the shell on?
Yeah, so we
Okay.
do the roasting with the shell on. Just make sure, again, any foreign objects are out of there. Then we'll take those beans into the roaster.
Okay.
And when we have a new bean, we actually use this small scaled down model.
Okay.
It roasts just a small batch at a time, lets us take out samples at different times and temperatures. So usually we'll do about 20 different variations on the roast.
Okay.
Turn all those into chocolate, and then compare the bars side by side before we settle on that final recipe. So.
Okay, cool. So then once you get that all set,
Mm-hmm.
you go into, this is like little baby,
Yep.
and this is like Big Mama.
Yep,
or
exactly.
Big Papa.
Yeah, so we just have that formula that scales the recipe up for
Yeah.
us, and we try to hit that same kind of curve of the temperature.
And then we take it to winnowing.
Yes, yep, so next stage, they'll look pretty much the same after
Okay.
roasting, a little darker in color.
Yeah.
But then we'll put them right into the winnower.
Should we go over to the winnower?
Yeah, let's do
it. After the bean has been roasted, you're separating the bean from the outer shell casing.
Right, so as that kind of thin outer shell on it, which we call chaff, and then you have the inner part called the nib,
Okay.
which is what we actually want to process into chocolate.
Yes,
So-
we love a chocolate nib,
Yes.
but we also love chocolate itself.
Yeah.
And so basically this machine, you stick the roasted beans up
Yep.
top.
Yeah, so we dump them into the hopper here.
Okay,
And then they go through this grinder that just kind of breaks them up.
okay.
And then the table here has holes of different sizes
Yes.
to sort the pieces after
Okay.
it's broken up. And the tubes along the back are vacuums, and they're all calibrated differently. So they suck up the lighter shell and let the heavier nib fall past to go into a bin.
So it's literally being sorted in these vacuum,
Yeah.
and then the chaff is going in through here.
Yep, through that big tube into our spice grinder.
Okay.
And then the spice grinder just kind of grinds it up into a fine powder there. And that's what becomes the base for our cacao tea.
So this
here.
is basically just the chaff that has been separated from the nib, and then this is what you steep for the tea.
Yeah. Yep, so it's chaff with just a little bit of nib because some of the nib gets sucked
You
up
want a
also,
little bit
yeah,
of that
right.
nibby goodness, right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, cool. So we go from winnowing to
To grinding is the next
grinding.
step. Yeah,
Okay, so should we head over to the grinder?
yeah, let's head over there.
Yay.
So this is called our knife mill.
Knife mill.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically a giant food processor.
Awesome.
Same blade in there and everything,
Okay.
just blown up.
Yeah.
And so it just chops up the nibs
Okay.
and it heats them up enough for the cocoa butter to release, the
Okay.
fat of the cocoa bean. So that allows it to liquefy.
Nice.
So we'll liquefy that first, then we'll
Okay.
add sugar or whatever sweetener we're using, milk powder if we're doing milk chocolate, anything we want blended up into the chocolate
Okay.
goes into the knife mill.
Awesome. And then once it's all blended together, it's kind of like a thick, almost like crunchy peanut butter paste
Yeah.
that you dump into here.
Yep. For this, it has a pump and it pipes it through this into the refiner over here.
Okay.
So it gets that thick, kind of rough textured paste.
Yes.
Goes through 5 stainless steel rollers, extremely close together.
They're
and
just
that's
grinding it down.
Exactly, yeah. So it just grinds it down super, super fine until we get to our target particle size so that it's a really nice silky smooth chocolate.
Cool. So after this, then we go to
The conch.
the conch
Yeah.
and then the tempering process. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it just goes that conch cycle, kind of finishing touch on the flavor and the texture before going into the tempering machine to be turned into a bar.
And so if you're doing like a infusion bar or something like that, is the conch where you would add like almond or?
Yeah, it depends on what type of inclusion. So we
Okay.
have some that go in here at the knife mill
Okay.
stage. We have some that go in at the conch stage. And then we have some that are right at the end, sprinkled on the back.
on the top, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of different options depending on what type of inclusion and what type of texture we want. that
That's so
inclusion to
cool.
bring.
I mean, everything in this process is super intentional, super dialed in.
Absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. I would love to see, since we're not actually making the chocolate,
Yeah.
but just kind of going through the process, I would love to see, should we go to the chocolate?
Yeah, let's
Should
make
we
some
see
bars.
the start of the
Yeah,
show?
let's do
Okay,
it.
let's do it.
Awesome.
This is basically every chocolate lover's fantasy right here.
Right, the
It's
giant tank of
literally
chocolate.
a tank of chocolate being mixed around,
Yeah.
all melty and delicious. And this is where you mold your bars.
Yeah. So we've already run the cooling cycle that gets it into temper. So it
Okay.
gets that crystal structure that we want so that the cocoa butter doesn't separate after it cools.
And is that what it means to temper chocolate?
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's about getting a specific form of crystal that locks that cocoa butter in, gives it a slightly higher melting temperature. So again, it just helps it. I'm sure you've seen chocolate melt in your car before and it
Yeah.
gets all chalky and weird from that cocoa butter separating. So this is the process that stops that from happening.
Some of this is like trial and error, right?
Absolutely.
And you're gonna do a little chocolate molding?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we have it set up in just this little pedal here.
Okay.
It'll dose exactly the right amount of chocolate into this.
Ooh.
And then normally we'll have this vibration table on.
Okay.
So right into that log.
That is so cool.
And then once we're done, we've got our finished bar of chocolate. Sorry, switch places
Yeah.
here. We'll just send it down this cooling tunnel here for about 15-20 minutes.
Okay.
Cools down into a beautiful bar of chocolate.
The opposite of a pizza oven.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so can I do one of these?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and grab a mold.
All right.
I'm just gonna turn up the amount it's dosing a little bit,
Okay.
and it'll
Oh,
keep cycling, so you
okay.
can pause for one. Perfect. Yep, and just vibrate all those air bubbles out.
Wonderful.
Get that going down the cooling tunnel.
Heading down the cooling tunnel.
Yeah.
So on the other side of the cooling tunnel
Yeah.
is packaging.
Yeah. So we'll just pull them off and wrap them by hand.
Okay, let's head over there, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome.
All right. So those have come out the cooling tunnel. A beautiful
Oh.
bar of chocolate.
Gorgeous. Yeah, now I can see what we referenced earlier at the table.
Yeah,
the
a little swirly design there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So these are already packaged here,
Okay.
and we're just gonna take them. We've done the foil wrapping.
So basically from naked bar, dress it in the foil.
Exactly. And then dress it to the nines
yeah.
in our final box
Your
here.
tuxedo.
Exactly.
Gorgeous.
And it's a beautiful bar of chocolate.
Mount Timpanogos. I mean, this is so cool. And I have to say, Grant, honestly, one of the things that you're doing so well here is paying homage to Utah County, to the people and the places, and really celebrating, like what we talked about earlier, celebrating community. And this has just been such a fun and delicious educational experience. I'm just so grateful that you are a part of our Utah restaurant and food family.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, yeah, so we need about 500 of these done by the end of the day.
Oh.
So you don't mind helping, right?
No,
I'll just,
no.
let you get set up here, and thank you so much.
Yeah,
We'll
thanks.
see you.
Okay, see ya.